Okay, shalom, shalom, kwam yasha'Allah, koholoim la yawaba, shem yawashai, bahashem, rachahach radash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, that by the Spirit taught us His beautiful truth. Just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to the best of their ability. Jachana Nawaf is coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And let me just get this quick title. It says a woman at work accidentally fed her Muslim colleague pork. Internet responds. Now, no one can accidentally feed you something if you're in, a religion, so to speak, which we are Hebrew Israelites. It's not a religion. It's just our culture that we don't eat pork. So it's my responsibility to say, hey, if they're having an office party, which they do that at my job all the time, at the plantation, but Esau, Edom, they think everybody eats pork. And that's one thing that I found out, because everything that they bring or buy, or it's an office party, or it's a, party for the employees, everything fucking got pork on it. So I just never even go anyway. They just, or they're, it's just, that's the way that they do. That's the way that they think, because they are abominable beings and they don't give a shit about nobody else's culture, so to speak. They just feel like you're in America, you're an American. How dare you not like pork, because that's a staple of our society. But you have to check your food. And that's pretty much about what I'm going into for you new believers that's coming into this truth, that are basically taking back your heritage, saying that you are the Hebrew Israelite from your respective tribe, calling on the name of the Father Yahweh in the name of His Son Yahushai. You are Israelite. When you come into this truth, you have to, read labels on your food packaging, and even when you go to the supermarket. So this accidentally being fed pork, that's some bullshit, But let's get some of the story. It says it's definitely hard trying to fit in at work, particularly when you're trying to get to know new coworkers. However, one female employee found herself in the hot water when she accidentally fed a Muslim colleague pork. I don't get that accidentally shit. Because if somebody feed you're supposed to be asking what, if they're telling you what it is, then you should be asking them what's in it. If it's a meat that's in it, you should be saying, okay, well, what do you use? You know what I'm saying? What kind of meat did you use? That's common sense. You might be able to say, or you just reject it. You don't even have to even eat the shit. You don't have to ask them what they put in it at all. Like, no, I'm okay. I ate already. Sometimes you got to use guile with Esau like that, because I've had Esau at the job. I remember a few times. It happened to me a couple of times with the same employee, and we was out on the road, and he, older so-called white guy, Edomite, and he, he's telling me about this great donut spot. Okay, so, he goes in, pulls up. I'm like, yeah, go ahead and get what you want, man, because I was straight. He was like, yeah, I'm just going to grab some donuts, So he goes in, he gets the donuts, he comes out. Now, just so happened, this particular donut shop, which I've never heard of, they sell basically pizza calzone, so to speak, or, like a pepperoni roll. And he comes out with this huge fucking pepperoni roll for me. He got two of them. He got, oh, yeah, I thought about you. I got you. I'm like, nah, I'm okay. I can't, I didn't even go off into I can't eat it or nothing like that. Like, nah, I'm all right. Take it with you, take it home for you tomorrow or tonight or something shit, give it to your grandkids, and then we go by again one day. It was, a few months later, he does this exact same thing again, and I didn't tell him because I didn't want to go off into the reasons as to why, because when you're at the plantation with these damn Edomites, man, you want to keep it simple. You don't want to let them know, because if you tell them, no, I don't eat pork, then they're going to get off into asking you questions. Oh, you a Muslim? That's the first thing that comes out of their mouth. They're not ever going to say, are you an Israelite? Some of them might these days, since the Israelites have been on the hot topic, or, the hot button, so to speak. But they're going to ask you all these questions, and then that question is going to lead to another question. And then, or you could just say, well, no, I don't eat pork. They ask you if you're a Muslim. Nah, I just don't eat pork. It's not healthy for me. I have a reaction to it. Or you don't even have to go into all that. Just, hey, no, I don't, no, thank you. And you keep it real simple, man. It says now the situation, because like I said again, let me specify this for you newcomers just coming into this truth. You don't want to be at the job letting these people know all about your business, man. Use guile, so to speak. Be harmless as a dove, wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove, like the scripture says. When you go to the job, they don't need to be knowing about you an Israelite and they're Edomites. They don't need to be knowing about any of that. When you get off the job, you go out and you teach, man. When you're at the job, that's a totally different situation. The apostles, they use the illustration of, be Clark Kent at the job, be Superman off the job. Separate the two, man. Because newcomers come into this truth and they have that zeal, and they go and they have these attitudes, and oh damn Edomites, I ain't gonna work, I ain't gonna do all, I ain't gonna, no, just go to the job, do your job, and go home, man. Because we're just trying to get our daily bread. Anyway, it says, now the situation does not look pretty bad for the employee in question who accidentally fed the Muslim colleague pork, but the OP added some much needed context to the entire lunch snafu in her Reddit post. Did a woman deserve an HR violation for accidentally feeding her Muslim colleague pork? So for full context, the woman explained how I had a new colleague, mid-20s, come in last month. I didn't interact with her much since she's from another department, but she's in the same office as us, so we share pantry. The OP was heating up pork dumplings, ugh, my goodness, one day for lunch. And see, that's another thing too, man, using the microwave after these people. They'll throw some shit into the microwave, won't cover it, shit splattering everywhere. I remember one time I was at the job and it was a damn fucking Filipino. And I don't know if he could have been a Jake, but I don't know. He definitely had the heathenist attitude. But man, this guy stuck a big ass bowl of blood in the microwave. I'm talking about nothing else. It was just blood. That's why the scriptures talks about eating us not eating fat and eating blood, which is the life of the animal basically. This guy literally had that was just a normal customary thing that they ate in Filipino. He just had a big ass bowl of blood, like it was a bowl of tomato soup, and he put that shit in there with no covering on it, blood splattered all over the fucking microwave, and then he pulls it out. He's sitting at the table slurping on that shit like it was tomato soup, like it was nothing, and looking at us like, oh, you don't eat it? What is wrong with you guys? So that's what I'm saying. Like, even with stuff like that, if you're able to do so, bring you something that you don't have to necessarily warm up. If you do have to warm it up, you most definitely want to have a covering, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is, man. Just so happened, I'm fortunate enough to pretty much come to the house and get something to eat, and then I can go back to the plantation, so to speak, So Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has blessed me in that way, because I noticed that these people, they don't give a fuck, man. It's just whatever. And you dealing with all different types of people coming out of their houses. You don't know what they got, what they dealing with, what they, you know what I'm saying? It's just, nah, man, if you can avoid it, man. Because the scriptures do says, never trust thine enemy. You see, this particular person right here, this so-called Muslim, they should have been like, nah, you know what? I'm just here to do my work. I have an idea how you guys get down. Nope. Anyway, it says, where was we at? Okay, they was heating up the pork dumplings one day for lunch and offered to share some with her new colleague, assuming that it was okay because the colleagues didn't mention any dietary restrictions. However, they explained that the colleagues asked her what was in her food, and when she responded that it was pork dumplings, her colleague spit it out and was really angry about it, saying, I should have known she was Muslim and can't eat pork. See? But that's, why the fuck would you take a mouthful of food and not ask before you take the mouthful of food? You should have been asking when they offered. What is it? What you just who the fuck, because come on, man. Anyway. And check out, I'm willing to bet you, I haven't read all the way through the story, but I am willing to bet you Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is like, oh, what's wrong with that? Well, such and such. They're going to justify their bullshit, man, every single time. They're not going to, Esau is not good at overall, admitting to certain shit, man. Even though this lady is, supposedly. I'm assuming this is her talking about this shit on Reddit. It says, the OP sounded like she had no idea that her colleague was Muslim, writing that the thing is, I only know she's Arab, see? And she was like a European Arab with blue eyes and blonde hair, and she wasn't wearing any religious items to indicate she was Muslim, see? And those blonde hair, blue eyes, those are nothing but, a lot of the times, they're just fucking Edomites, man, claiming to be Muslims. It's, because Muslim is just a religion anyway. It's not a nationality. It says, one rhetoric pointed out that the OP was in hot water. Either way, writing, I would take this quote that OP should have known that the colleague was Muslim. to that HR complaint and ask them if they are really telling an employee to stereotype other employees based on looks. Watch them squirm for a bit, then demand this entire complaint to be removed from their file. Other Reddits agreed, noting that it's okay to understandably to have dietary restrictions, but you have to actually tell people about them. Okay. Now, well, I guess it could go either way, but I think it's on us as our responsibility to ask somebody what's in the food, especially knowing our dietary law as far as being Israelites. So let's just go into it, man. You get the gist of this particular story. We don't really have to go too much further into it. Slakia, and those Muslims, they're Ishmaelites basically, or they get the customs of Ishmael. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, there's plenty of people that are Muslims that come from every walk of life, that are every nationality. See, when it comes to this Hebrew Israelite thing, if you don't come from Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob, you can't be an Israelite. This is a family thing. This is not some, organization that you can join at your own whim. Like, I believe in what y'all believe in. I'm going to be one of you guys. Now, you might be able to do what we do, but as far as family blood, biological blood, no, you can't be one of us. You see, and Ishmael, he comes from our forefather. So he knew, they've always known these laws, statutes, and commandments as well, because he grew up with our forefather Abraham. He knew some of those things. It's just that the promises wasn't given to him. Those promises was passed on to Isaac. That's who the covenant went to next. You know what I'm saying? Or the promises went to Isaac next, because our forefather wanted Ishmael to have it because, he was the only child at the time. So as he's growing up, he was circumcised. Don't think that he wasn't circumcised. Don't think that he didn't know the law, statutes, and commandments up until the point that him leaving with his mother, until, when Isaac came on the scene and, basically, Ishmael and Hagar had to leave because that promise wasn't for them. But they did have those customs, and they've been keeping those customs throughout time since then, basically. Okay, but this is the law. And it's crazy. Our people, man, they will fight you tooth and nail about swine. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they will fight you tooth and nail about swine. If it's not one thing they're going to fight for, they're going to fight for the so-called white man to be saved, and they're going to fight to eat swine, pork. Leviticus 11:17, and the swine, though it divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. See? Deuteronomy 14:8, it goes a little further into it. It says, and the swine, because it divideth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud, it is unclean unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. See, it was nothing for that so-called white woman to bring leftovers from the shit. It was nothing for her to slurp it now, and they don't be thinking, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, again, all these Edomites, I'm telling you, when I go to these little events and stuff like that, and I'm talking about, they don't think of nobody, really. They act as if everybody just eat pork. Every fucking thing have the pork on it. Everything, man. I'm talking about the supreme of the pork. They have every goddamn meat on a pizza, if they're having a pizza party or whatever it is. So you have to use your own discretion and say, that's why I'm saying this person with the accidental shit. No, that's not accidental. Who the fuck just sits down and eat food from a stranger basically and not know what it is that they're eating? If somebody was to say, hey, you know what, we're I don't know, shit, I made spaghetti. It's people that use ground pork in spaghetti. It's people that use ground pork chicken and whatever the fuck they'll put whatever in some damn spaghetti, man. I had somebody, they offered me some lasagna and I was like, well, what's in the lasagna? Motherfuckers had shrimp in the lasagna. I'm like, shrimp? I'm like, no. So I had to ask. I'm asking anybody, man, that's offering me some food. And see right here where it talks about, it says, ye shall not eat their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. And now see where I live, I got one of my uncles with me. And, he's not giving up no pork. That motherfucker, he gonna eat pork till the day he die, he claims. And I believe him. So, he's cooking the shit in the house. I live in a whole nother section of the house. It's kind of like a duplex, so to speak. But I can smell the shit. You know what I'm saying? But we share the same kitchen. And, I had to get my own pots and stuff like that, because I didn't even want to I don't want to wash no damn dishes behind him. No, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Because he might leave a dish in the sink, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? And he's frying his pork links and pork chops and all kinds of other shit in the fucking pans and shit. I don't even want to use the pans, man. I had to get my own set of pans. I keep my shit in my own area. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, again, we share the kitchen and share the bathroom. But we got two sections of the house. You know what I'm saying? I live on the bottom half. He lives on the top half. But, that shit just disgusted me so bad. It's like, it's just like, goddamn, but the best that I can do for myself is to get my own pots, my own silverware, that my shit is not being touched by none of that shit, man. And I know I might be being being a little over righteous about it, man, but that's just the way I feel about it. So, everybody got their take on it, you know what I'm saying? But I don't want to be, cooking or eating from nah, man. And the motherfucker half washing the shit, you know what I'm saying? Nah, man, I'm straight on all that. But anyway, I just wanted to touch on this. I didn't want to keep this long, but hey, people are gonna be put to death over this swine thing, man. Because it goes off into that let me see. Yeah, that's that Isaiah 65:4, where it talks about let me go into it a little more. See, people, but the Lord, he cleansed everything. They'll use that Peter's vision thing and, the Lord told Peter to, to rise, Peter, and eat. Eat the gorilla, Peter. Eat the camel. Eat the asphalt. Eat the cement, Peter. Rise, Peter, and eat. They'll use that shit and say, see, we can eat anything. Lord made everything clean. Anyway, let me start from verse 3, Isaiah 65:3. A people that, let me start on up. Let me just start on up. Let's get started at verse 1. Get the context. A rebellious people, right? And we was going into this at the camp Saturday. It says, I am sought of them that ask not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts. See, this is what they do. Our people walk after their own thoughts. A people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrifice in gardens and burneth incense upon altars of bricks. See, that's all they goddamn idol worship, especially that white Jesus crap. It says, because white Jesus is the one that Christianity with white Jesus, they're the ones that's telling you that you can eat all this abominable shit. It says, which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels, which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all day. See, the Lord not playing no games, man. The Lord is not playing no games, man. He's not with that nigga sitting around eating pork all day talking about, well, the Lord, he blessed it. All I got to do is pray over it in the name of white Jesus. Nah, man, you're not supposed to be eating shrimp, crab, lobster. And like I said, the neighbor that offered me the shrimp lasagna was like, I seen her yesterday. It's a lady, actually. And, I kind of grew up with them, so I know them, pretty well. But, they had moved out of town and came back. But, the family, my father and their mother and father and all of us kind of lived till our parents moved away and we kind of took over the homes or whatever. But anyway, another story on that. But basically, she was like, yeah, I'm a Presbyterian. She said, I can only eat seafood. And she done told me that a few times. And I haven't had a chance to actually, get off into what she's into. But she won't eat no chicken, beef, and she thinks she's doing actually good. But what she doesn't know is she's eating all kinds of abominable shit thinking that she's doing good. And see, our people have a zeal for God, but not according to knowledge. I know somebody else that's like that. All they eat is seafood, thinking that, by them eating seafood and them not, they thinking that they have this great diet. But what they don't know is they're eating a bunch of abominable shit. They're eating a bunch of bottom feeders, a bunch of animals that are pretty much just vacuum cleaners, man, so to speak. But anyway, I just wanted to just touch on this, man. Just for the newcomers, because the channel is called Hebrew Israelite Milk. I try and stick to a lot of the basics, for the newcomers that's coming into the truth. you know, because you got to get this milk first, man, before you can get get that meat, because as you start to keep the precepts or start to keep the commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, he starts to give you more understanding. So we have to start off slow, you know, and move on into it. I know we're living in the last days, so we're kind of, you know, forcing a lot of stuff into the class at one time because we're living in the last days. So a lot of these newcomers got to learn a lot faster. But, you know, the Lord placed a spirit on them to learn. But, you know, these are basic things, man, basic concepts, you know, of the scriptures where we're not supposed to eat swine because it goes against the dietary law. And that dietary law is to protect you, to protect your body, to protect you from getting sick, man. If you notice, a lot of our people, man, the reason why they have all these, especially look at our older generation, the reason why they're so frail and they have all these ailments and, you know, high blood pressure and hypertension and strokes and heart attacks. And, you know, it's all that shit got to do with the diet, man. The scriptures, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know, they have this saying where, you know, you are what you eat. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I just wanted to touch on that. But us as a people, we have a responsibility to read labels when we go to the supermarket. Read those labels well. Another situation when I first came into the truth, I can remember these beef sausages that I used to get. And I was like, you know, I'm trying to, you know, I'm knowing about this law. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to stop eating pork. I done stopped eating it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And, you know, now I'm shopping. Now I'm looking, you know. And Esau is so goddamn slick. They'll put something in small, see them really small letters. Hey, if you can't read them motherfuckers, man, fuck it. Put that shit back down and get something that you know for real is lawful for you to eat. Yeah, you got to, you know, damn near have a micro, you know, on the Apple phone, you know, they have a magnifier on the phone where it's like a magnifying glass with the camera where you can zoom in and, you know, make shit big. If you got to do that, do that. But, man, because I'm telling you, Esau put this shit on there small as hell. But come to find out, these pork sausages, I was getting them like, you know, every other week or whatever. And, you know, it's kind of like some, you know, I could throw on the grill and, you know, some I could just, you know, and just have everything already ready or whatever. Snack on them and all this little shit. Come to find out the damn beef sausages is in a pork casing. Now, why the fuck would you put, well, why would they need to be in a pork casing? Out of all casings. And this in small lettering. And then it was another, what was that? It was a cornbread. You know, like one of those instant cornbreads you can make. Now, I have been seeing a vegetarian box, you know, but you know, you got the regular box. It's called Jiffy. And, you know, you're just thinking like, okay, this is just regular cornbread. You know what I'm saying? You know, you mix it up, you put an egg in it, you put a third of milk and all this other shit, mix it up, whatever. About 20 minutes later, hell, you got some cornbread, right? Come to find out, you know, reading the back of that, you know, and somebody put me on game on that one. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, it was a wicked ass woman that had gave it to me. You know, she had got a little upset with me, and then you know what she done? She was like, you know, she like, and yeah, and that cornbread you eat, that cornbread I gave you, it had pork in it. So, you know, it made me, you know, look at the back of the box, and I'll be damned if it didn't have like, I think it says like pork lard or some shit, and I'm like, oh, okay, but she knew. So when shit went sour, so to speak, you know, now she's popping up with, you know, just wicked as hell, man, and she knew what I was into too. So, you know, but that's another thing, too. So read these labels, man. Go up into reading these labels, man. It's nothing. Like I said again, if it's something too strenuous, you looking like, well, goddamn, what is this? You're not sure about this? Because, I mean, man, it really is. Whew, Esau got some shit on the back of these labels now. They got some real scientific shit on the back of these labels. And they putting pork in a lot of shit, man. They putting pork in the wine. A lot of gelatin and shit like that be having pork. Man, a gang of shit be having pork in it. You know, but we are eating our bread defiled in the land of our enemy and in the land of captivity, you know, roughly paraphrasing. And we got to deal with it. But we do the best we can, man. So just pray to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you know, to lead and guide you to things that are lawful to eat and that you can't eat. And, you know, you can't go wrong with fruits and vegetables. But even with that, this man done genetically modified a lot of that. A lot of stuff I don't even buy, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they don't even label it as being seedless or. And if I don't know that it doesn't have seeds in it, then I'm not going to buy it because I'm not wasting my money like that. You know, I just leave it like, fuck it. You know, you know what I'm saying? Because you can actually ask somebody in the supermarket, like, hey, does these have seeds in it? I've come across shit that you know supposed to have seeds in it, don't have seeds in it. So when I get home, I cut into it and I'm like, well, god damn, this shit, now it blew my money. But anyway, I just wanted to touch on this, man. It's our responsibility to check the labels and ask what's in food, man. Nobody can accidentally walk up on you and just give you some damn food to eat and you munching down on it, and then afterwards you ask after you feeling fucked up. Like, what's in this? Nah, don't be like that. So with that, pray that this lesson was edifying. Kwame Yashala.